Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Zach Seidel, Deputy Mayor of Communications for Mayor Bass. Thank you so much for coming today as Mayor Bass and Acting Secretary Adrianne Todman highlight unprecedented success through unprecedented partnership here in Los Angeles. According to the latest point in time count, homelessness in Los Angeles is down for the first time in years. And that is thanks in part to partnership with the federal government. Today, we're going to hear from Senator Kevin Murray, President and CEO of the Weingart Center. Following that, we'll hear from Mayor Bass. After that, we'll hear from Acting Secretary Todman. Mayor Bass will then come back to the podium to introduce Councilwoman Hernandez. Following that, we'll hear from Supervisor Horvath, Supervisor Solis, Assemblyman Santiago, and Senator Durazo. After that, I'll call from questions to the left. And then following the entire program, Gabby Mars from the mayor's office, along with a partner from Weingart, will take cameras to take B-roll of the facility as needed. And then we'll wrap. With that, I'd like to introduce Senator Kevin Murray, President and CEO of the Weingart Center. For more than a decade, Senator Murray has led Weingart in providing individuals experiencing homelessness essential tools necessary to stabilize their lives, secure income, and find permanent housing. With multiple sites throughout the greater Los Angeles area, the Weingart Center is a close partner in the effort to save lives each and every day, and we thank him and Weingart for their support. With that, Senator Murray.
Thank you. Welcome to the Mayfair. Welcome to the Weingart Mayfair, we're going to start calling it.
Okay.
And again, part of this is I want to thank the mayor and all of these elected officials because this is something unique in that it's a reimagining of something that was a normal sort of tourist hotel into something that can serve our most vulnerable. There are 294 rooms here with 308 clients. Some of them, we also take couples here. We are a little bit unique, and then we also take animals. You'll see behind us, that's an off-leash dog park. And we think that having an environment is at least maybe more than half of getting someone back on track and being a contributing member of society. One of the services we provide here is we provide physical and mental health services. We provide substance use services, intensive wraparound case management, also employment and housing navigation. And out of we opened in May 1st. Since then, we've moved 54 people to permanent supportive housing. So I think that's something to be applauded, frankly. And you know, people here, not only do they come in and we food and we house them, but we constantly assess them to find out what they need. So one of the things is we are agnostic about what they actually need, but we're trying to meet them where they are. And again, I want to thank the mayor and the other elected officials for seeing the vision of what we're calling this is kind of a new term, which maybe you created, permanent interim housing. So this is a facility which the city owns, and one of the things that we've determined is that we are coming out of crisis mode, even though we're still in a crisis writ large, but that we need to have permanent facilities, not temporary facilities, permanent facilities that will temporarily house people as we help them move up in the socioeconomic levels. So with that, please welcome our mayor and our visionary, Karen Bass.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will tell you it is a wonderful day in LA when I have the opportunity to tour an incredible building like this. And it is an example of a theme that we've been talking about for the last 2 years, which is locking arms. What you see here is an example of every level of government who participated, who joined together, along with the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority and Valicia Adams Kellum, who all of us work together to deliver this. I am very excited to be here with the Acting Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Adrianne Todman, and I just have to tell you that when we're getting people off the street, what Angelenos, I don't believe, realize is that we have a lot of policies, archaic policies, that frankly either lead to people being homeless or keeping them from getting housing. So I want to give you two examples because these were examples that that if we had not locked arms on the federal level would not have taken place. And so in order to get housing, you had to prove your income. If you've been living on the street for 7 years, how do you prove nothing? If you are a veteran, we disqualified you from housing because we said your benefits, your VA benefits were income, and you made too much money. And so you couldn't get a housing voucher. So Kevin Murray and Weingart at another building, you had empty beds waiting for veterans who could not access vouchers. Working in partnership with the Housing and Urban Development Department on the federal level, working with the VA, we were able, after almost 2 years, to get waivers from those policies. Only to find we celebrated that. But after we got waivers on the federal level, we learned that there was state law that mirrored the federal law. So then we had to change that. And because we have leaders in the state legislature, like Senator Maria Elena Durazo, Miguel Santiago, those leaders then had to do state legislation. So getting people housed is very complicated. We have to unravel and change archaic policies while we have to expedite building, while we have to provide the type of services that people need to stay off the streets. So this is a wonderful day today where we can put on a full display of what locking arms actually means. So I want to ask you to join me in welcoming Acting Secretary of HUD, Adrianne Todman, to welcome us here in Los Angeles.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're very welcome.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. And let me just start by saying we also would not have been here without the vision and the, quite frankly, tenacity of this lady right here, the mayor of Los Angeles. Let's hear it for her. One of the things that I knew to be true not too long ago was that in addition to making sure we have the resources that we need, and I'll get to that in a second, and that we are able to make common sense rules out of some crazy rules, as the mayor alluded to, we also need to make sure that there's a level of coordination and true north at the local level. And so what I see behind me here is that coordination on steroids. I mean, you do not necessarily get the kind of folks and the caliber of leadership that's standing behind me right here to work in conjunction with each other to make sure that sites like this can become a home come true for the people who live here and who will be living here. So I would like to congratulate all of the leadership at the state, local level for what you have been doing. Thank you so much. Let's give them an applause. Look, one of the things that President Biden and Vice President Harris insist upon is making sure that our federal dollars are working for the people who need it. If it means cracking some eggs and getting rules changed, and if it also means making sure we have the resources that we have, they have been from day one very clear with everybody who works for them what their expectation was to serve the American people. And when I go back to Washington, D.C., I can't wait to share with leadership how $27 million of federal HUD funding was used to help acquire this site and put us on the path to be here to have a pool filled to become a dog park. That's really amazing. What I just saw here is treating people who have not been treated with humanity, treating them with dignity. If we truly want to solve the homeless challenges that exist in this city, but quite frankly, across the country, we have to begin to look at the homeless as people, not just some large mass that needs to be resolved, but as people. I can say, given this tour, I think that everybody who goes through these doors, where are folks from Weingart? I think that everybody going through these doors are going to walk into these doors feeling hope, perhaps hope for the first time in years. And that gives me hope. And I'm going to travel the country and tell folks that they need to come here to figure out how to do it well. Because that's right, we're going to apply to that. Because if we're going to continue to provide resources to the billions of dollars, the Biden-Harris administration has provided more money toward homelessness solutions than any administration in ever, I would say, having been in this business for 3 decades, than any administration. It came in the form of the President's American Rescue Plan funds. It came in the form of us fighting for vouchers. It came in the form of us making sure that we had the kind of CDBG dollars that help this site begin. So I want to thank all of the leadership here for your ingenuity and your passion to bring this together. But quite frankly, for anybody who's listening to this is what government looks like when it's working well. If you want to know what your federal government's doing for you, if you want to know what your state and local government's doing for you, this is what we're doing, and it's working when it works well. Thank you all so much.
So one of the things that I think is important is to acknowledge old traditions that need to be dispensed with and creating new traditions. So one old tradition was constant conflict between the mayor's office, the city council, the board of supervisors, everybody pointing fingers and fighting. What you see here today is the unity, a united front, and that begins with the councilwoman in this area, Council Member Eunice Hernandez, who has been leading the effort to make sure that her constituents get the services that they need in order to heal. Councilwoman.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mayor, so much for your words. Secretary Todman, thank you so much for joining us. And our colleagues from the state and our colleagues from the county, I want to reiterate, this is what government should look like all the time. And yes, other parts of the country should be looking, but also other districts within the city, other jurisdictions within the county. This is a beautiful model that when we come together, we can reimagine a whole building and turn it into a home for people, a healthcare center for people. So I'm excited that y'all are joining us here in CD1 in the heart of our district in Westlake. When I first toured this building, we toured a room where the mattresses were burned. There was a lot of damages. The carpet was messed up. And then we came in when they were half done building it, right? Halfway done refurbishing it. And I hope that you all see what type of building this is, where there are characteristics, features that were of a very bougie, very up-class hotel that is now in service of people who are our most vulnerable community members, who get to eat with the chandelier in the same room, who get to do the laundry while looking at the view of downtown. That is what it means to house people, to uplift their humanity, to give them dignity. And that's why I'm really grateful for our partners at Weingart also for making that happen, for dignifying people. We couldn't do this without our partners at the county or at the state level. And it is about removing tape so that we can do the things that we know are right, which are housing people. This was an underutilized building that now is housing over 300 people that were once experiencing homelessness on our streets or in different parts of the area without any refuge or without a place to go. So I'm inspired by this location. I look forward to seeing how we continue to build on this location because we need it. We have over 37,000 people experiencing homelessness in the city. But for the first time, and under the leadership of Mayor Bass, that number is down. That number is down by 10%. So what we're doing, yes, that's a round of applause because year after year, that number has been going up. And a 10% decline is nothing to turn away at, and it's going to keep going down because I know that these partnerships are only going to strengthen. These examples are only going to grow. So again, thank you so much for coming to Council District 1, for entrusting us and trusting this community that needs a lot of investment in different other crises that are occurring, right? But we're making that happen as well because when a community welcomes projects like this, we need to be uplifting and enhancing those communities as well. So again, thank you so much for joining us. Grateful for this opportunity. And now I would like to invite one of my colleagues who is doing phenomenal work at the county level, Supervisor Lindsay Horvath, who's the chair of the Board of Supervisors. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to have some good news for a change, I would say. And I really want to start by thanking Mayor Bass for bringing us together and for her tremendous leadership, which has strengthened the bonds between city, county, state, federal partners, our community leaders. Her leadership has transformed what is happening in Los Angeles. And that's what today is about, celebrating partnerships and the urgency we are bringing to address this homelessness crisis once and for all. Earlier this year, I had the privilege of visiting Washington, D.C., and had the opportunity to meet with Acting HUD Secretary Todman. And I really want to thank her for answering Los Angeles County's calls to change and deliver solutions that Mayor Bass has been relentless in pursuing and our regional leaders have been committed in accelerating. By eliminating service-related disability benefits from income calculations for our veteran community, you have unlocked new vital opportunities, especially to house veterans who have sacrificed so much through their service. And by us taking this action, we are doing just a small part to return the great service that they have offered to us. And no one deserves better from us than the veterans in our community. More veterans have access to housing in Los Angeles County than ever before, thanks to those who are present here today and the unprecedented partnership we all represent. Los Angeles County's Military and Veterans Affairs Department also has a new navigation unit to uniquely support veterans out of homelessness. And so it's the services, it's the housing, it's the commitment to uplifting individuals and seeing people as people first that truly transforms what is possible. LA County Development Authority also led on solutions working with HUD to change Section 8 eligibility process, breaking down barriers and making it easier to house people quickly. HUD allocated more housing vouchers to Los Angeles, as we know, and these are the kinds of practical solutions that are necessary to deliver the results that we are seeing. HUD understands the unique needs of our Los Angeles region, thanks to the leadership of our mayor, who I know has been relentless, thanks to her leadership in Congress and the relationships that she has developed over her many years of service. That is where trust is built. It is where trust is earned, and that trust has delivered unprecedented partnership and unprecedented results. And so I'm just here to say, let's keep going. Let's work together. And thank you all for your partnership in delivering this wonderful opportunity. It is now my privilege to welcome my colleague, Supervisor Solis.
Well, I think today it's really about partnership. And I want to really commend the mayor for bringing us all together. When she says lock arms, she doesn't just say it. She means it, and that's why we're here again and again and again since she has been in office working with all of us. And whether we as a county go out to Washington, D.C. to talk to our acting secretary of HUD or to work with the city council members and the state and the assembly, it's all about coming together and understanding one prerogative, and that is the unhoused, and making sure that we do everything possible to get them housed, to get them the respect, the dignity. And this is just one aspect of it. I also want to thank former Senator Kevin Murray and his staff, the Weingart Center, because they are tremendous. I mean, these are particularly important, substantive types of facilities that don't just look beautiful, but they're going to have intensive services, wraparound services, mental health. They're going to be able to see clinicians. They're also going to be able to have access to job training. And a large part of that comes through the funding. While we didn't purchase the building, the county has a responsibility to provide the wraparound services. And that will go on, and that will be a source of funding to the Weingart Center to continue to do that. But I mean, we can go on and on. We can go on and on. But the fact of the matter is, it's about partnership. And I do want to give a big shout out to the Biden-Harris administration, because they have done so much in the last 4 years to help us address the unhoused, people living in poverty, people seeking a better life, whether it's job development or whether it's getting more people into these careers of providing assistance to the unhoused and helping to lift up those areas of our country and our cities that have been left behind. Westlake, MacArthur Park, the 1st District in the CD, but also this is my district for the County of Los Angeles. And believe me, we have been working hand in hand in partnership with all of those that are here, and we want to continue to do that. So let's celebrate. This is a wonderful day for all of us. Partnership is the name of the game. And with that, I want to introduce Assemblymember Miguel Santiago, who also has been a big partner with us all the way through. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank everybody here. I mean, it takes a village to get something done. But I want to tell you a personal story. And I remember when Mayor Bass was running for office. And one of my first conversations, she had talked about being a community organizer. Now, I did a little community organizing as well after college. And from one organizer to another, I understood what Power Before program meant. But this is the example of it. When you talk about locking arms, when you talk about organizing, you talk about getting things done, few in Los Angeles, few across the state of California, or even in the nation has gotten accomplished what our mayor's been able to do. Now, anybody would have been a skeptic and said, hey, maybe the homeless numbers aren't going to go down. Maybe it's just another talking point. But we saw those numbers go down for the first time in modern history. And what that means, that's absolutely should clap. Because if the guy speaking is clapping, everybody else should clap too. That's usually the hint. But there's good reason to clap, and I'll tell you why. Because those numbers have gone down in a city where folks were skeptical, where they said they couldn't go down, and things couldn't get done, and the bureaucracy was too thick, and the tape couldn't get cut. And it's all been done. And this is an example of it. That's why we celebrate. Money's always been kind of a problem to get things done. But we've always had money. Now we've got a community organizer at heart who's been chopping away, making sure that stuff gets done. I would have said a different word, but we're before camera, so stuff gets done. But look, it's getting done, and this is one of those examples of it, where the feds are working with us, so thank you to the Biden-Harris administration, thank you to the city, the county board of supervisors, our state partners, and the Weingart Foundation. So it's historic. It works. It's getting done. We're proud of it, and we know that more will get done. We just got to roll up our sleeves and make sure that we continue that work forward. Y para los medios de comunicación en español, aquí estamos celebrando una de las cosas más importantes que ha pasado en Los Ángeles, que hemos visto que nosotros hemos podido, bajo el liderazgo de la alcaldesa, ayudar a gente a ganar vivienda y casas económicas. Y entonces es súpermente importante porque hemos visto que tenemos una alcaldesa que ha luchado y ha ayudado a gente a ganar un techo por sus cabezas. Y es muy importante. Eso es lo que celebramos ahora. El éxito de nosotros trabajando juntos y con liderazgo de la ciudad, bajo la alcaldesa y agarrando viviendas a la gente que no tenía antes. Muchas gracias por tenernos aquí, and thank you to everybody.
All right.
And look, everybody follow the cue. And now I'll introduce Senator Durazo.
Thank you, Assembly Member. Thank you, Secretary Todman, for being here. The mayor, I got a call from the mayor and said, we need you to work on this bill, and described it. And I was trying to understand what is this all about? And it just seems so, in some ways, insane. So small. And I thought, but there's no way the mayor would be calling to please, let's pass this bill, unless it was going to make a difference. Unless it was going to make a difference. So I thought, boy, it's going to take 9 months of hearings and committee meetings and on and on and on, and getting your votes lined up on the Senate side, then your votes lined up on the Assembly side, and then getting it to the governor. I mean, it was a lot of work to change one thing that's making the difference in people's lives. And what I want to do, thank the mayor and her staff, is because they're saying when they see that something is wrong, that if it was changed, it will make a difference in the number and the people that are unhoused, then she's going after it. She's not sort of like, oh, well, that's the rule. No, you do something and you change the rule. And you make it possible for people to then be able to get their housing. So I just want to add to all of the information we get. Of the 260,000 extremely low-income renters, 69% pay 50% of their income on housing costs. So when we talk about making one change, one rule through one piece of legislation, that's what we're talking about changing. We cannot allow people to live and pay 50% of their income on housing costs, because then they will end up unhoused. And that's what we have to stop. So I just came to thank everyone for what you've done. I agree the different levels of government, more than anything, the mayor's changing the culture in which we have to change the way that government does the work that government should be doing. So let's not fall on the way it's always been done, the tradition. Throw the tradition out and move forward and make the change. Thank you all.